Hey, I got this message from my friend. Can you translate it in English? Sure. It says, there's a strike at the SNCF starting from the 15th arrondissement, so keep that in mind. I still don't get it. Where is SNCF? And what is arrondissement? Hey, I got this message from my friend. Can you translate it in English? SNCF and arrondissement are well-known terms in French culture, but people not familiar with France probably don't know what they are. So explicitly explaining what is implicit in the context of French would help. Sure, it says there's a strike at the railway company SNCF starting from the 15th arrondissement district of Paris, so keep that in mind. Oh, I see, thanks. I'll be careful on my trip to France. Like in this example, it would be great to have a system that automatically produces this kind of translation. And that's what we're going to do in this paper, bridging background knowledge gap in translation with automatic explicitation. There are two main barriers to build such systems. One, there is lack of annotated explicitation examples to learn from. And two, it is unclear how to evaluate usefulness of explicitation. In this work, we address each of these by semi-automatically collecting explicitation examples from Wikipedia that motivates automatic generation methods and enables intrinsic evaluation, and by suggesting the evaluation method for explicitation using multilingual question answering. But first, what exactly is explicitation we are talking about? The term explicitation is defined as a procedure of explicitly introducing details into the target language, which remain implicit in the source language. This term broadly covers various types of details that is newly introduced in the target language, caused by difference of synthetic structure or by fluency. And in this work, we focus on explicitation that explicitly explaining implicit background knowledge, which is also categorized as pragmatic explicitation. Before the automation, we collect and examine naturally occurring explicitation in Wikimetrics. To find the sample, we follow the traits of pragmatic explicitation and deploy it as each filtering step in detection pipeline. We first find unaligned segments using word alignment based on the definition that explicitation are part of unaligned token sequences. Next, we determine whether the unaligned segment is likely an explicitation by checking if a pair of unaligned segments and the named entity are nearly positioned within the sentence and related. Then we decide if the named entity needs explicitation. We check if the entity is culturally bounded to the source language speaking community and culturally distant to the target language speaking community. In final annotation stage, we present the automatically collected explicitation candidates to human to get final ground truth samples. This is the statistics of resulting dataset. France, Poland, and Spain are the countries that is most frequently associated with the candidate entities for each source language. Cultural explicitation in the final row is quite rare in the corpus and show low extraction rate. However, it is sufficient to let us reason about when explicitation is necessary and let our automatic method learn how to generate it. We analyze examples and categorize them into 5 types, which is consistent with earlier studies of explicitation literature. The most common type is adding national information to the entity, especially for the location. Acronym expansion is also common types of explicitation. Other representative cases are introducing the hyponym of the entity and adding titles to the human name. Now, based on the samples we collected, we automate the explicitation process, mimicking human translators. The process can be divided into 2 parts, decision and generation. We use the similar decision function from the earlier detection phase. We further optimize it to have better accuracy by diversifying the definition of cultural boundness and implementing it as a property conditioned on each language. In this example, length of the Wikipedia pages in a given language is an additional property. We explore several forms in generating the explicitation from short to long. We fetch detailed information of the entity from the Wikipedia and Wikidata. Finally, we test whether our explicitations are useful through direct human evaluation and also extrinsic automatic evaluation using multilingual question answering system. Human annotators evaluate automatic explicitation on three aspects: decision, generation, and integration. 70% of automated explicitation are marked as valid decision. We also use a multilingual QA framework to evaluate our automated explicitation. We assume that the explicitation may not be helpful if the QA system is already knowledgeable of what is added by explicitation, and therefore has minimal performance changes after fitting the question with explicitation. And we hypothesize that a well-generated explicitation will increase the accuracy of the target language question answering task while being relatively less effective in the source language. We add additional explanation on the culturally specific entities in the English question and its corresponding Polish question. In the result, the increase rate by explicitation in English is greater than that in Polish, which indicates the effectiveness of our automatic explicitation methods. In conclusion, we introduce techniques for automating explicitation to bridge the gap of background knowledge and collecting naturally occurring samples to build Wiki-EXPL dataset. We further suggest the frameworks to evaluate the effectiveness of explicitation and verify that our automated system is effective in both intrinsic and extrinsic evaluations. Thank you for watching.